Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm checking out the Tovsto Vivid video glasses from gearbest.com. Now before I start, I should say that these are not a budget video goggle, so I won't be comparing them to the likes of the Quantum series or the Kylin goggles. These are a direct competitor to the headplate goggles and you can buy them for about £174 or so. So, this is a HD goggle, just like the head play, and it is made out of foam and also plastic here, and I can tell you it doesn't come across on camera, but it is really good quality. And we have got a 7-inch screen in here. It's a good resolution, so it's 1280 by 720, so it is what they used to class as HD ready, which is 720p, so not 1080p, which is about the same as the headplay goggles. I think they say those are 1280 by 800, but these are cheaper, and you're not going to notice that little bit of difference there. So the first thing that I go for with these goggles is the nose piece, and I'm happy to say that this is really adequate to fit my nose. It does not crush it at all, and that is usually a problem with these goggles, and I suppose for the price it should be really good on your face. And you've got this foam up here and a lovely strap and this very sturdy connector. So we have got a 32 channel 5.8 GHz receiver built into it, and you change through the channels through this little button here. Now when you start the goggle up, it does do an auto search, but after it's done its auto search, you can manually change the channels. So to change through the different bands, you hold down the button and it will slowly cycle through the bands. And then once you are in the desired band that you require, you can then single press the button and it will go through the channels. It's quite nice. Yeah, they're quite lightweight as well. And on the side here, we have got various different buttons, which I will go through in a bit. And you've also got the spot there for the antenna. It is RPSMA, unfortunately, but I'm seeing RPSMA used more these days. I have gone and bought some RPSMA antennas to deal with that. So the goggles are really nice, and they come in this bag here, which I really like. You know, the packaging is really straightforward. You just get the goggles in that bag, and then you get this box of stuff here. So let's just tip it out and see what you get. So we have got some extra foam padding, which I am going to fit. So you get a spare one for the top, and then you've got these two pads here which fit round here, so I'm definitely going to be fitting that. So here we have got a 1300 2-cell battery, and it's using the Fat Shark connector there, which is quite nice if you want to upgrade and use a Fat Shark battery. However, this does come with a Velcro strap on the back of it, and that is because it's designed to sit in the back there, and then you've got this cable that goes over the top, and then there's no on button. You just plug that in there like that. So what else do you get? You are given a mushroom antenna, which is pretty cool. RPSMA, as I stated. It is semi-rigid, so that's quite nice, and that obviously just screws in the top there quite easily. So we are also given some spare pads there. You know, I tend to find these goggles, especially the Fat Sharks, these do wear out. So it's nice that you're given some spares there. So we have a cable set here, and this is if you want to use a video source or audio source that is different from this. So you've got 5.8 gigahertz, you've got a AV1, AV2, and HDMI, which is pretty cool. So yes, this cable sort of intercepts those signals there, and you've got a composite video and audio and then your power, but this is video in, so there's no video out on this, which is a shame because you could have hooked up a DVR. There's no DVR with this. And I think the first company to start shipping these with a DVR is onto a winner, because you've then got a Fat Shark competitor, because the Fat Sharks have built-in DVRs and they're very good. So we really need that in these goggles. Lastly, you are given a charger to charge the battery that just connects in there. And of course, depending on your country, you're going to need an adapter to charge the battery, which is quite nice. So one thing that a lot of people are interested in when it comes to these goggles is, can you wear your glasses over the top of them? Now, my glasses are pretty thin, and I'm pleased to say that they fit over no problem. I guess if you have really massive glasses, then it might cause a problem, but not for these ones. So that is good news for a lot of people. Now, one thing you will notice on the side, there's no adjustment for the Fresnel lens. So this is using a Fresnel lens to magnify the screen. However, I can confirm that for me personally, the focus is perfect anyway. I imagine that people's eyesight is different, but for me personally, I think the focus point is fine. So let's just move some of this stuff out of the way, and let's get on to how it works. So as I mentioned, you plug it in and you'll see that after a couple of seconds this number starts to change. You can see it's flicking through the channels really quickly to find a signal. Of course, if you don't have any FPV signal connected, then it just stops and you'll see it goes blank inside, and at that point then you can't actually change the channel. So that was something that I found was a bit of a pain. So what you have to do is plug in an FPV signal. So I'm just gonna do that to the side there, and then I'm going to plug in this battery here, and it takes a couple of seconds to turn on. It must have a capacitor in there, and it's done its auto scan and it's found a channel. So let's take a look at the screen. So it's quite hard to show how these goggles look inside a camera, but you'll notice 4x3, this has some very good options inside of it, so I need to take a look at those. So the source is self-explanatory. It cycles between AV1, AV2 and HDMI, and then we've got up and down keys here. That is the up and down of the menu, scrolling up and down. And then we have got, you see here it says volume. So when you aren't in any of the menus, it turns the speaker up and down. So yes, we have an onboard speaker here. And this also changes the values when you are in the menu. And then of course we have the menu button there. You do a long press to get into the menu, and it's a really good menu, this. So this is what it looks like when it boots up. And it's now going to do a quick scan, and we have the quadcopter FPV footage there. So I'm just going to go through the menus, because you do get slightly different options depending on which view you are in. So of course we are in the FPV view at the moment. Of course, if I press the button on the top there, it will change channels and go to snow. So snow is always a good thing. Now on this camera, it looks like this nose piece gets in the way, but it doesn't. Obviously when your face is really close up to it, it doesn't cause a problem. So let's go through the various menus. Now you have to be pretty quick. I wish the menu would stay on for longer. If I hold down this button here, you can see the various different options, and it goes away there. So hold it down. You can see there that we've got scale, and that's on 4x3. So if I move down to where it says scale, I can change that. So we've got the full now. Now that doesn't really bother a lot of people, but I really like to have the correct aspect ratio. So big, massive props to them there. So let's go back into the menu. So we've got various picture options there, contrast, brightness, color temperature, etc. And then we've got some audio options. I really wish that menu would stay on for longer though. So one thing that I haven't talked about yet is the HDMI connector. Now there's not a lot of people doing HD FPV. However, for this review, I'm going to use it. So the slot here for the HDMI connector is really small, and I've seen a lot of people modifying it so that you can fit a wider connector on. However, I've got one of these slimline HDMIs, so I'm going to see if this fits in. It's going to take a little bit of waggling around, I feel, but there we go. It actually does fit in. Nice and snug, actually. You can see that it was designed for this type of connector. There's a little ledge there, and that is nice. So what am I going to do next? Well, I'm going to plug this into the back of my Phantom 4. I fitted the HDMI module, and hopefully I'm going to be able to fly FPV with these goggles with the Phantom 4. Let's go check it out. Do I look good? Like I say, the goggles are a bit garish. I cannot believe how cool this is, flying FPV with these goggles. Just going to do a large rotation around us here. So when I plug the goggles in to the HDMI slot at the back of the Phantom, it says that it recognizes 60 Hz and 720p, which is just perfect for the output on the Phantom. Now it's becoming dusk here, so the Phantom probably will struggle a little bit for low light. And of course I don't have the usual features, because when you plug the Phantom in through HDMI, you cannot use the phone's functions. This is just fantastic. However, I can still access the record button, and I can also change the exposure if the sun is too bright. So I can mess around with that, which is quite nice. See, it's overexposed now, so I can change it using the dial. Very nice. So I mentioned that you get a couple of different options depending on which source you plug in. So if you use the 5.8 GHz video receiver that is built into the goggles, then you get the option of changing the aspect ratio to 4:3 or 16:9. However, if you're using the HDMI, then it will auto guess the scale from the information that is sent down the HDMI cable, and this looks just absolutely perfect. I've never flown HD FPV before, but I tell you what, it is much better than on the phone. There's no breakup whatsoever, I guess because there's no phone trying to process everything. So what I'm going to do is take the goggles off and see how it looks through the camera here. So this is pretty much what I'm looking at, and it is a crystal clear image. It looks amazing. And there's no breakup, there's no juddering, no jittering. It's absolutely perfect. So I really recommend these goggles, guys, especially if you've got a Phantom 4. You know, I can't spot a pixel at all either. Fantastic. Let's get a bit of height on. Gonna boost the exposure slightly because the sun is setting. Not even a hint of breakup on the picture. It looks amazing. So there you go, that is my review of the Tovsto Vivid video glasses. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.